Hey, what's up guys? It's Chris here with Prestige Auto, and today we've got this '08 caliper in the garage, and we're going to be doing brakes and rotors today. So let's get our tools together and I'll show you how to change those out. Alright guys, so we got the car lifted up. First thing we need to do is get this wheel off. It looks like it is a 19 millimeter, so let's get it off. Alright guys, we've got the wheel off, and as you can see, this rotor looks like crap. It's terrible, and you can see down in there kind of, there's no brake pad left on that thing. So the next step we're going to do is we need to get this caliper off right here so we can swap out the pads, and then this rotor is just going to slide right off. We can slide on the new one. So if you look back here, right there, we've got a bolt, and there's going to be one down at the bottom too. You can see it right below it down there. We'll take those two off, and this caliper should just slip right off. Sometimes they get a little stuck on there, so you may have to use a little force, maybe tap it a little, but it'll slip right off. Let's get that thing out of there. Okay, so it looks like this bolt down in here is an 18 millimeter. So we've got that on there. And sometimes those things are on there pretty good, so you may have to get yourself a breaker bar and use some force. So let's see if we can get this off. Okay, looks like I'm going to need a little extension too, so I'll grab the extension. All right, here we go. Okay, we've got both of those bolts out of there. Now, like I said, this thing will just slide off like this. And you don't want to let it hang too much on this rubber line. You can hang it up with a bungee cord or something, but I'm going to be really quick. I'm just going to let it hang here for just a second. And like I showed you, your rotor simply just pulls right off. That simple. Rotor's off. New rotor comes in, slides right in. That's how you change your rotor. Very simple. Now, we've got our brake pads here, 2 for each side. We'll set them out of the way for a second, but you can see, let me get the camera and show you how bad these pads were. You can see down in there that these were no good. Like there's no life left on those. Let's pop this thing out. So to get them out, I usually just take my thumb and push it right out. There's little grooves right there and there that this pad will sit in. Let me show you the shape of this pad. See the little arms on it here and on the other side? Those little arms on the new one will go in and lock into place right there. This little tab pushes up. Sometimes you'll have to push up so it'll slide into place. Sometimes you got to finagle with it a little bit to get it in there. So we'll leave this back one in for the time being. We've got to get a clamp or a vise or something and compress this in. Because these pads, as they wear, they get tighter and tighter. So now our gap is only like this, and this new rotor is big, and our new pads, as you can see, let me find one. They're much thicker, so by the time we put 2 of those together, they won't squeeze on this. So you have to compress this thing in to open that up and give yourself new space to slide that over. So let's get a clamp, and I'll show you how this works. Okay guys, sometimes this takes a combination of tools. So they make a little tool like this that gets in there and twist it, and sometimes it does work really well. I try to use it every once in a while because it does work really well. But another option that's really easy is just get yourself a big clamp like this. You can go in through there and put it in the back. Make sure there's a nut on the back where this hose comes in. Make sure you're not on that and you mess that up. Try to get on the housing right here of the caliper and just twist it. Okay, we're going to twist it, and what you want to do is you want to look on the inside here. Let me show you the inside. Right, can you see? No, you just have to look on yourself, but right behind the pad right here up against this cylinder, it's going to smash all the way. Once this pad comes all the way flat up against this thing in here, you want to stop cranking it. You don't want to keep going. You might break something. You just want to compress this pad all the way. If you look in there, I can't get a good view of it. Right there, you can kind of see there's a gap. You want that pad to go flat up against this. Once it's there, you've made it. You're done. You'll just back this clamp off, take it off. You can pop out that pad and put in your new ones. So let's get that thing compressed in and pop out that pad, and I'll show you how to put in the new ones. All right, we've got that thing compressed in all the way now, so you're just gonna put your fingers in the back and just kind of jiggle it and pop that thing out the front. It usually comes out pretty simple, but mine is stuck in there. Yours might be stuck in there too sometimes, so you'll just need to give it a little tap, get you a screwdriver or something, give it a little pry, and pop that thing out of there. So let's get a screwdriver or something. Okay, we've got a couple little prying tools. They usually come out very easy, but this thing hasn't had brakes done in a while, it looks like, so. There we go. And I hope those new ones going a little bit easier than that. All right, we've got that out of there. A little back plate fell down when we get that out. So as you can see, this is your old pad right here, and this is the new pad. So see the difference in the thickness right there? This one was definitely old. So let's get these slid in now. Alrighty, so we got our new pads here. They usually look like this, kind of the same. Sometimes one will have like a little metal thing off the back. That's your little squealer you hear whenever your brakes start getting low. That metal thing will stick further than the pad and it'll start rubbing against your rotor there, making a squealing sound to let you know your pads are going bad. Anyways, they go in like this, the same way they came out. Make sure the arch is with this and these little ears. You want to make sure that your pad is facing in, obviously, on both of them when you put them in. So we'll do the back one first. It'll drop in, lock in. The front one will drop in and lock into these little pins also. Sometimes it can be kind of aggravating to get it in. You just got to finagle around with it and you'll get that son of a gun in there. So let's get to it. I usually like to get it down into place and I'll take one side and shove it in so that one side's locked in. Don't push it in too far, because I've noticed if you go in too far with one end, it pushes out and it'll lock itself in. So make sure it's kind of even as you're going in. So we'll push in this one side and then we'll come over here to the other side and get this little ear lined up. Like I said, sometimes that top one you'll have to push up. It's kind of like a little tab. Okay, we got that one in. And we will get the other one now, and it's the same thing. Like I said, put your little arch so that it goes with this. Get your little tabs lined in. Slide one in. Okay, it's popped into place now. So that one's in. Let me show you here. You can see there where your little tabs went in. Your little ears on both sides. We've got this one in. And you can see this little gap in the middle right here. Oh, right there. It's gonna sit on your rotor. So that's why we compressed this in. If we wouldn't have, this one would have been pushed out real far still. And you wouldn't have been able to get it on here. So now we're gonna flip this thing around. Make sure you do it the same way and you don't kink this line here. You make sure it flows like it's supposed to. We're gonna get it and we're gonna turn it and straddle it back over that. And we're gonna line up our tabs right where our bolts went in, here and here, back where they went. Back here, there, and down there. And we'll tighten them up and get that thing snug back down. I'll usually go ahead and get one bolt in my hand so that when I get it lined up, I can go ahead and get it started. So we'll spin this thing around, like I said, not kinking our line right here. Make sure that your rotor is slid all the way on. And we'll slide that right over your rotor. And on your top one right here, go ahead and get your first bolt in. Make sure it's not cross-threaded and give it a couple turns. And that'll just kind of secure everything in place. Now she'll sit there while I line up this bottom one back here and we'll get it in also. Let's see here. So we got that first one in and then this second one is down here. Okay. Sometimes you have to slide this one in and out just a little bit, back and forth to get it lined up with that hole. You can look down in there and see the hole to it. And so we've got it. I'm just tightening it up now. Okay, we've got it. Let's go ahead and snug it back down. You want to make sure that your rotor is not, see how it's kinked out right here? You can see, make sure it's in all the way and everything's squared up. And then we'll snug this back down. We'll put it on our ratchet and really crank it down. He's on there. Okay guys, as you can see, we've got it on there. You've got your new rotor, you've got your new brake pads in there. We've got our bolts back here, tightened back up. It was only those two. We're gonna put our wheel back on, get our lug nuts back on, and this side's done. Well, all right, guys, we got that job wrapped up. That was pretty easy. Takes about 30 minutes. If you got all the tools together and all your stuff together, it's such a quick process to take off your wheels, swap those out. It takes about 30 minutes. It cost me about $100 for a brake and rotor kit from AutoZone. So I have some customers say that they pay $300 or $400 for this job to be done. There's no sense in that. I did it for $100 and 30 minutes of my time. So we'll get our tools swapped over to the other side. We'll get this side swapped out. It's the exact same as the other side. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I hope this helps you changing out your brakes and rotors.